Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Furry Times podcast. It's me and Mar Wolf. This time we talk about transportation. Let me address the issue about what's been going on with the airlines of late. There's been reports that instances of air rage have gone up by more than 1,000%. Last number I heard in the first couple months of this year, 2,400 cases of air rage, meaning if you don't know the term, where a passenger starts attacking other passengers, and in one case very recently wanted to open the cabin door while the plane is in flight. My guess this would get you a lot of you about rethinking about flying. It certainly would with me. Of course, I will have to fully admit I am terrified to fly. I was so scared at one point when a friend started to ask me to take him to the airport so they could go visit their relatives. I was actually scared to be at the airport. It eventually took a couple years and many trips to the airport before I'm relaxed around the place. Now I can sit down there, I can look at my phone, do everything normally. But anyway, that was before the pandemic. So what are your alternatives? Well, let's start with the big one, Greyhound. Did you know Greyhound once had a motto called leave the driving to us? Well, they really did. So what is it like taking the bus? Well, let me tell you, it isn't as bad as some reports on some review sites say it is. The buses I was on were clean. Drivers was very friendly. As for trouble with the passengers, I'll get into that when I get to it. Well, let's start with how I got my ticket. I got it through the internet. I printed it up. I'm more of a kind of person who likes printed copies, but there is a digital option through their app. Whether you use the app or not, I'd actually recommend using the app. Not so much for tickets. That's really your own choice, whether you want to get a printed ticket or just use the digital, because the driver will scan that is a part of your ticket. The actual process of getting the bus is rather simple. If there's a check-in facility, you have a bag weighed, and they put a tag on it. You sit around and wait for your bus to be called. And then when the bus is called, you hand your bag over to the driver or an attendant, and you get on board the bus. And that's when you scan your ticket. Well, I mean, as far as the buses go, they're pretty clean. I mean, you sit down. I mean, I admit I'm a big guy. I am over 6 feet tall and weigh over 200 pounds. And how can I even put this? It was not exactly a comfort room. It was just enough room for myself and maybe my backpack. You do have a tray table and a power outlet. Unless you traveled with them before, you don't know that the buses use cell phone internet, and they have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi on the bus. Well, the problem is, if they can't get a cell phone signal, you don't have internet. So, I mean, the one thing I discovered as part of my journey is you ever bring something to entertain yourself that does not require your cell phone, because you won't get a signal. I mean, you're going through, take for example, between going from Chicago to St. Louis, there are areas where you're lucky to see a house, maybe one house every half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Yeah, and this is bus going down the highway at 55 miles an hour. Yeah, there is nothing. I recommend bringing something to entertain yourself with. It does not require the internet, and especially does not require your cell phone. Maybe you've got some content loaded up on your cell phone, like some music or a video or something, but make certain you have it on your phone or on some device you can take with you. As dumb as this might sound to some of you, I actually recommend getting one of those portable DVD players and picking up a couple of discs. They're fairly cheap, and you can pick up a portable player either on eBay or to some yard or flea market. They're really easy to get, and they're not that expensive. I think even Target's got them, and they're not wholly expensive either. But either way, therein lies another problem. Well, if you want to eat healthy, and I kind of learned this the hard way, that the buses, although they do make they call them rest stops. They mainly stop at fast food restaurants, maybe some sit-down place, but the real truth is you do not have time to eat there. You can do a takeout order, but make sure it's fast because you get 20 minutes for the most part. Some places are even less. So I'd recommend bringing food. To start off with, at least 1 gallon, 1 liter of water per day of traveling. Believe me, you will get thirsty. And I recommend water over soda or juice because, well, speaking of a person who has been diagnosed clinically dehydrated a few times, you do not want to get that thirsty. And water does relieve your thirst. So bring food. Keep in mind something that will not spoil. I mean, that you can eat on board the bus, but make sure it's something that can't spoil. I also learned that I figured out the hard way. If you want to have cereal and milk with you, the easiest solution is get a Ziploc bag, fill with cereal, and a disposable spoon, and take one of those containers of almond milk. They don't go bad. Why almond milk? Because it won't spoil. Well, therein lies another problem I ran into, and that is we had a layover for about 3 hours in St. Louis at around 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, I discovered that if you have a paper ticket, that the bus driver is supposed to give you back your ticket because you had to catch another bus, and this is your way getting back to getting to where you're going. Well, actually, it wasn't that simple. Didn't give me back the ticket, and I had to go customer service and get a printed ticket printed out. Which, I mean, even at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're very friendly. Everything went fairly smooth. Now the big problem I faced. Well, I mean, we're on the bus heading from St. Louis to Evansville, Indiana, which I did back in 2018. And, well, as time went on, people were sleeping across the aisle. I admit using the bathroom at 55 miles an hour isn't the greatest thing on earth, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. But when people start sleeping across the aisle, and you really don't want to disturb anybody because you don't want to make them mad at you, it gets a little inconvenience. Just to say, I was very uncomfortable every time I ride to Evansville, Indiana. Lucky my friend brought me over to a restaurant and I was able to use the facilities over there. Another problem I kind of discovered on my route is, and I don't mean it's that bad, but you will feel sticky. The circulation of the buses aren't exactly as great as you think they are. At least 3 of the buses I was on. The 4th one was not too bad, where you can feel the sweat in the air, and you get sticky. I mean, that's unfortunate the way it happens. So those baby wipes, baby wipes you can find in the aisle with the infant and the women's stuff, are absolutely perfect for that. It'll make you feel a lot cleaner. And I bring them with me everywhere I travel. But other than that, it was a great trip. I mean, went to visit Evansville, Indiana, which just proves one point. You can just go to some place and just enjoy yourself without really knowing about the place. I even found a connection to Chicago down there, to the Wright's house. Well, now on to Amtrak, which was wholly different, and I found there's some interesting problems with them too, but it's not as bad. I found out the hard way that you have to check your bag at least 2 hours before departure. Well, I mean, they share that with the airlines, so if you got to get it early, check it in early, you check it in early. They also have one little option that might be good for some of you. You can actually check your bag in the day before. Of course, you have to pay a small fee, but it really isn't that bad. Well, same thing with you check your bag, then you wait in the waiting room, and then when I went coach on my train trip, so when the train was ready to board, they called us and followed the Amtrak employee to the boarding area. Of course, we weren't allowed to board right away. First class passengers, those with the sleeping car, get to board first. And then after they were on, we were allowed to board. This was when they give you your seat assignment. They take a look at your ticket. I also had to print a ticket, but their app also you can do boarding through the app. They also scan a QR code, so it's it's real simple. Then you go there, you sit down, but once the train gets moving out of the station, you can walk around, which is something you can't do on Greyhound. You get access to the cafe and cafe/observation lounge. I mean, let's be honest here. There isn't much to do except eat and look at the scenery. Now, I admit, the scenery can be fantastic. Going to the Appalachian Mountains twice on my journey, once down and once back, was fantastic. And also various sites. And I admit, I got a little thrill going through Pittsburgh and thinking, this is the home of Asthrocon. But it was great. The only real downside, also if you're like me, you want to be eating healthy, is that the cafe car, which is the restaurant aboard the train, only really got fast food. The usual hamburger, hot dogs, soda, chips. They do have wine and beer to those inclined. Of course, I would recommend looking up Amtrak Cafe menu on any search engine. You'll bring it to the website. You choose the national menu, and you'll be able to see the entire menu and the prices, which aren't exactly cheap. And there's the other problem. It's expensive, and you really haven't got really healthy options. They might have some fruit, but at a buck a piece for an orange or an apple, and they don't have bananas, is not the greatest. So the same thing, like with Greyhound, you got to bring food, and you got to think stuff that won't spoil. The people on the train who were more experienced than I was did have brought their own food. And same thing, having your own cereal is nice, and having fruit. That's the one thing I really wanted when I was on board the train, some fruit. And also the same situation with the water. They have these things attached to the wall where you're supposed to be able to get a drink of water. I'm telling you something, none of them worked on my way down or my way back. So you need to bring water with you. I did for my return journey, and it really helped, but I should have brought 2. I thought I only needed 1, but I needed 2. Yeah, it's a way we need. And I guess you say the only problem I had was sleeping. I mean, not that anything's uncomfortable. The seat they give you is very comfortable, and the leg room is fantastic. I swear I could put my entire suitcase between my seat and the one in front of it. There was that much room. Plus there was a place you can rest your legs, and you can lean back to some degree. It is very comfortable. But unfortunately, some of the other passengers wanted to lie down. Not too many, but you're going to run across this. Some of them slept where you can place carry-on luggage. Those are like metal shelves in the lower half of the train. I was on a two-tiered train. The restrooms were on the lower level, along with the place you can put the carry-on luggage. It was, using the restroom on the train wasn't that bad. Although I would recommend, and I forgot to mention it for Greyhound, bring hand sanitizer with you. There really isn't. You can wash your hands, but then you got to work your way back upstairs, and by the time you get upstairs, your hands are going to be dirty again. So, it's a vicious cycle, but it was a great trip. Going down, it was easy. The problem with Amtrak is that it leases the spaces from leases track space from the freight companies, so they do get delayed quite frequently. My train was 3.5 hours late arriving to Washington, D.C., and on the way home, almost that. But the staff was quite friendly, and according to them, no incidents of train rage, not a one. Well, here's the thing. Amtrak has a very unique way of handling unruly passengers. And that is, you get kicked off the train. And the real problem with that, you could be in the middle of Nowheresville. There was one place we went to, which was kind of like a layover for a bit, but it was at least 75 miles to the nearest town, and there was no place to rent a car, so you can be stuck there. And where the next train takes you, that's their own business. So I really do not recommend causing problems. Of course, although I wish I saw a fursuiter on the train, but it was a pleasant trip, and I would take Amtrak again. And despite some of the issues I had with Greyhound, I wouldn't think twice about taking that again. But here's the thing. If you're a fursuiter and you got your fursuit and you rather have it with you, I would recommend taking Amtrak. Oh yeah, don't forget Greyhound's app. I forgot to mention that in detail earlier. It's kind of like one of the ways of finding out where you are. And as far as where you are on the Amtrak really doesn't give you location information. It gives you maybe timetable. I got the same information from a copy of the schedule I printed up before I left. It gives you how many miles you are and where you are, and pretty much you can kind of figure out where you are and how late you're running by the stops. And you do see some rather interesting sights. So whatever is up to you. You decide where you want to take a plane or a bus or a train, but that's really up to you. I'm not going to really tell you what to do. I'm just giving you the option. And Amtrak is really a good option. Anyway, I had a great journey, and I wish I could travel again, which I hope to do when it's I don't have to wear a mask, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Anyway, this is Amar Wolf saying that I might do another podcast involving Anime Midwest, which I am planning to go to in July, and hope to report on it. I don't know really what to expect. There's I don't know what they're going to do, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, this is Amar Wolf, wishing you all a good day.